Secrets of Royal Jewelry. Princess Madeleine appeared at a state banquet in Sweden dedicated to the visit of the President of Iceland, accompanied by her parents, King Carl Gustaf and Queen Sylvia. She posed with her husband Christopher O'Neill and brother Prince Carl Philip in an elegant pink sleeveless dress, accessorizing with a Van Brun ring, a Cartier bracelet, and a silver Jimmy Choo handbag. Her tiara, chosen for a meeting with President Halu Thomasdottir, attracted special attention. This jewelry is one of the most exquisite jewels of the Swedish royal family, the ruby tiara of King Edward VII. It was originally given to Princess Margaret of Connaught on the occasion of her wedding in 1905. Tiara's story is filled with royal events and dramatic twists. After Margaret's death in 1920, her jewels passed to the future Queen Ingrid. However, her second son, Prince Sigvard, received the ruby tiara. Sigvard was stripped of his princely title after his marriage to actress Erika Patzek, but later married Sonia Robert. In 1953, after receiving the title of Count of Wiesborg, his wife wore a tiara. Sonia also used it for Crown Princess Margrethe's 18th birthday in 1958. After Sigvard's divorce from Sonia, he married Marianne Lindberg Chang, who became a close friend of Pierre Balmain. In 1962, Marianne wore a tiara for the 60th birthday of King Gustav VI Adolf. The king's relationship with Sigvard was strained, and after his father sold the tiara in the 1960s, Sigvard got it back. But later it passed to his son, Count Michael Bernadotte. Queen Sylvia first wore the tiara in 1987 during a visit to the Netherlands. However, in 1995, Sigvard was outraged by its use at Prince Joachim's wedding. After his death in 2001, Marianne wore a tiara. The tiara became a favorite of Queen Sylvia and was often used by her at official events. In 2022, Marianne, the oldest member of the Swedish royal family, celebrated her 100th birthday. By donning the tiara, Princess Madeleine paid tribute not only to King Edward VII, but also to the lives of Sigvard and Marianne, whose stories make this decoration even more significant. Princess Anne, the second daughter of Queen Elizabeth II and the Duke of Edinburgh, was born third in line to the throne, but now ranks 14th. After being educated at Buckingham Palace and the Benenden School, Princess Anne became a professional equestrian. She won a gold medal at the 1971 European Triathlon Championships and represented Great Britain at the 1976 Olympic Games in Montreal. In 1973, the princess married Mark Phillips, captain of the equestrian team, and they had 2 children, Peter and Zara. After their divorce in 1992, she married Timothy Lawrence. Princess Anne is actively involved in public life, taking part in more than 500 official events every year. In 1987, she was awarded the title of Royal Princess, which is usually awarded to the eldest daughter of a monarch. Princess Anna has a lot of jewelry in her collection, especially her tiara with a diamond garland. This festoon tiara was given to her by the Worldwide Shipping Group in 1973, when the princess announced her engagement to Mark Phillips. The tiara was probably created at the turn of the century, and the company bought it before giving it to the princess. The tiara first appeared in public 50 years ago, when Princess Anne wore it for a series of portraits of Lord Lichfield, released on the day of her 23rd birthday. She is also present in the wedding portraits of Princess Anne and Mark Phillips, taken by Norman Parkinson at Windsor Castle a few weeks before their wedding in November 1973. In the early years of her marriage, Princess Anne often wore this tiara to various events, during a state visit to Denmark at the Royal Agricultural Winter Fair in Toronto, during a tour of the Commonwealth of Nations, at a banquet during a visit to Sweden, and at a gala concert in honour of the Queen's Silver Jubilee in 1977. In the following years, the princess wore the tiara less often. In 2009, she lent it to Autumn Kelly for the wedding of her son, Peter Phillips, at St George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. The tiara was last seen at the Queen's Commonwealth dinner in 2017 and at the Spanish royal couple's reception at Buckingham Palace in 2018. Ella's emerald fringe. Which of the 16 wives could Sultan Abdul Hamid have given her? In 1884, Princess Ella of Hesse, the future Grand Duchess Elizabeth Feodorovna, came to Russia to marry Grand Duke Sergei Alexandrovich, the brother of Emperor Alexander III. In St. Petersburg, she was met by Empress Maria Feodorovna herself. Gifts from the Romanovs. Ella's father and grandmother presented her with expensive gifts, but the main dowry was collected by Empress Maria Feodorovna. The details of her gifts are unknown, but Maria of Romania claims that it was luxurious. The Romanovs also presented Ella with jewelry, which was usually placed in a separate showcase for guests to see. A gift from the groom Sergei Alexandrovich also made gifts to Ella, including the emeralds of Catherine the Great, which passed to him from his mother, the Dowager Empress Maria Alexandrovna. These emeralds became the basis for two magnificent sets of jewelry ordered by Elizabeth Feodorovna. The first set, known as the Big Parure, entered the European market after the Revolution and became the property of Queen Maria of Romania. Emerald fringe and earrings. The second set is less well known, but no less beautiful. It included earrings and a luxurious corsage. Elizaveta Fyodorovna often combined elements of both sets. The corsage consisted of a three-tiered garland with 31 large drop-shaped emerald cabochons and a variety of diamonds. The frame was made of gold and silver, and the three largest emeralds were decorated with floral settings and could be worn as brooches. The rest of the stones are complemented by Russian leaf tops and diamond chains. The upper part of the fringe could be unfastened and worn separately. For the earrings, the master used teardrop-shaped emeralds with a floral finial, which Elizabeth loved and often wore. The fate of jewelry. Like most of Elizabeth Feodorovna's emerald jewelry, the fringe has not been preserved in Russia. Unlike the Big Parure, the corsage decoration was sold before the Revolution. In 1905, Elizabeth Feodorovna, the Grand Duchess, decided to sell part of her jewelry collection, including the famous emerald jewelry. However, she did not look for a buyer in Russia, as she was afraid that this would cause disrespect for the royal family. That's why she put her collection on the international market. One of the buyers of this luxury product was Sultan Abdul al-Hamid, the last absolute monarch of the Ottoman Empire. He had many concubines and wives, and it is likely that the jewelry was given to one of them. Perhaps it was intended for his youngest and most beloved wife, Saliha, who gave birth to his son Mehmed in the same year. In 1911, when Abdul al-Hamid had already been deposed, he put up this jewelry at one of the prestigious European auctions, probably because of an urgent need for money. However, the name of the new owner of the jewel remained unknown. Since then, the jewelry has not appeared on the market again, and its fate remains a mystery. Perhaps it is now kept in a private collection or has been dismantled to create new jewelry. Cubit Shand Tiara, Camilla's heirloom queen consort. Camilla possesses 3 tiaras, which she borrowed from Queen Elizabeth II. However, there is another unique tiara that she inherited from her family. This is the Cubit Shand Tiara, and it plays a special role in Camilla's life. Camilla often appears in the Delhi Durbar, Greville, and Tech Crescent tiaras provided to her by the Queen. But there is also a family heirloom, the Cubit Shand Tiara, which Camilla wore at her first wedding to Andrew Parker Bowles in 1973. The Cubit Shand Tiara originally belonged to Camilla's grandmother, Sonia Keppel. Sonia's mother, Alice Keppel, was the last woman of King Edward VII, the great-great-grandfather of Queen Elizabeth II. Sonia lent the tiara to Camilla for her wedding, and it became a family heirloom. After Sonia's death in 1960, the tiara passed to Camilla's mother, Rosalind. Rosalind did not wear it in public, but Camilla inherited the tiara after her mother's death in 1994 and has been using it at important events ever since. The cubit shand tiara is made of diamonds and decorated with an exquisite floral pattern encased in a wreath of leaves. Its lightness and unique design make it a favorite among Camilla's other tiaras. Even with access to the Royal Jewelry Collection, Camilla continues to wear the cubit shand tiara. Gemologist Deborah Pappas estimates its value at more than £250,000. The Royal Collection of Tiaras. The Royal Collection includes dozens of priceless tiaras, many of which belong to the Queen and other family members. Some tiaras, such as the fringe from Surrey and the nizam from Hyderabad, were dismantled to create new decorations. Some tiaras have become symbols of significant events in the history of the royal family. For example, the Cartier halo tiara that Kate Middleton wore to her wedding to Prince William in 2011, and the meander tiara chosen by Zara Phillips for her wedding to Mike Tyndall the same year. One of the most beloved tiaras is the Lover's Knots. She is related to Diana, Princess of Wales, and has become a symbol for Kate, Princess of Wales. The Duchess of Marlborough's magnificent Boucheron tiara 2024 marks the 60th anniversary of the death of Consuelo Vanderbilt, Duchess of Marlborough, who died on December 6, 1964. Her life and fate became the epitome of the contrast between American luxury and British aristocracy. There were many jewels in her jewelry box, but a special place was occupied by the magnificent diamond tiara Boucheron given to her for the wedding. The life of Consuelo Vanderbilt. Consuelo Vanderbilt was born into a family of millionaires who owned a huge fortune. She grew up in luxurious mansions in New York and Newport, where she was surrounded by wealth and comfort from childhood. Her parents, wanting to strengthen the family's financial position, decided to marry her to the 9th Duke of Marlborough. This marriage became a symbol of the fusion of American capital and European aristocracy. The wedding of Consuelo and the Duke of Marlborough in 1895 was one of the most high-profile events of that time. Despite their wealth and status, their marriage turned out to be unhappy. The couple had different interests and values, and they lived mostly separately. In 1926, their marriage was officially dissolved, which caused a huge resonance in society. After her divorce from the Duke of Marlborough, Consuelo married French aristocrat Jacques Balzan. This union was based on mutual love and respect. They traveled a lot together, living between France, Florida, and New York. Consuelo devoted herself to charity and fashion, leaving a vivid mark in history. She passed away in 1964, laying the foundations for a future generation of Vanderbilts. Boucheron tiara, a masterpiece of jewelry art. The Boucheron tiara has become a real piece of jewelry. It was made of high-quality gold and decorated with 19 large pear-shaped diamonds. The stones shone like dewdrops on delicate leaves, giving the impression of lightness and airiness. The tiara was made in the workshop of Boucheron, one of the most famous jewelry companies of the time. It has become a symbol of luxury and status, emphasizing the high social status of its owner. The tiara in the life of the Duchess of Marlborough, Consuelo Vanderbilt, wore the Boucheron tiara for the first time on her first appearance at the court of Queen Victoria. This event became an important stage in her life, symbolizing the beginning of a new chapter in her destiny. In 1897, during a visit to Russia, the Duchess of Marlborough donned the tiara again. At the ball at the Winter Palace, she shone in a luxurious outfit, complemented by the famous Vanderbilt pearls and a Boucheron tiara. In 1902, the tiara once again took center stage in the Duchess's outfit at the coronation of King Edward VII. Her look was complemented by the famous pearls woven into graceful garlands and numerous diamonds that covered her bodice and cascaded below her waist. Even after the breakup of her relationship with the Duke of Marlborough in 1906, Consuelo continued to shine at social events. At the coronation of King George V and Queen Mary in 1911, she reappeared in a dazzling outfit decorated with all the Vanderbilt family jewels, including the Boucheron tiara, the tragic ending. In the post-war years, when the world was experiencing an economic crisis, the Duchess was forced to part with some of her jewelry. In 1919, the Boucheron tiara was sold at auction at Christie's to S.H. Harris and Son. The gems were melted down, and the tiara ceased to exist. The history of the Boucheron tiara has become a symbol of luxury, which, despite its beauty, proved short-lived. However, the memory of the Duchess of Marlborough and her jewels continues to live, recalling the bright and controversial time of the early 20th century. The fantastic appearance of the halo tiara. 44 years before the wedding of Kate Middleton and Prince William, the halo tiara, created in 1936, has become an important part of the history of the British royal family. This jewelry, made of diamonds and platinum with an Art Deco pattern, was a gift from Prince Albert, Duke of York, to his wife Duchess Elizabeth in November of the same year. However, the fate of the tiara turned out to be connected with unexpected events. Just a few weeks after receiving the gift, the Duke and Duchess became King George VI and Queen Elizabeth after the abdication of Edward VIII. Queen Elizabeth II sporadically wore the tiara during the early years of her reign, and in April 1944 she gave it to her eldest daughter, Princess Elizabeth, for her 18th birthday. The tiara then passed to the princess's younger sister, Princess Margaret, who wore it before her marriage. In 1958, Margaret appeared in a tiara at a dinner celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Royal Air Force. Princess Elizabeth, who became Queen Elizabeth II in 1952, has never been photographed wearing a halo tiara. The next owner of the jewelry was her daughter, Princess Anne, who wore the tiara for the first time at the grand opening of Parliament in October 1967. Anna also wore a tiara during the royal tour to New Zealand in 1970. After Princess Anne's move to larger tiaras, the halo tiara went into storage and remained there for many years, until it was reintroduced to the world at Kate Middleton's wedding in 2011. Kate chose a tiara to emphasize her connection with the traditions of the royal family, and also used diamond earrings with acorns, symbolizing the Middleton and Windsor families. The halo tiara consists of 16 swirls decorated with 739 diamonds and 149 baguette diamonds, which gives it elegance and uniqueness. Its spiral shape and large diamonds make the tiara one of the most recognizable pieces of jewelry in the history of the British royal family. Tiara with a scattering of diamonds on a velvet cushion is all that remains of its former glory. Amalia sadly recalled her triumph. It seemed like yesterday, and today her throne was shaken, and her magnificent tiara turned into rubble. Amalia became the first queen of Greece. She could have become the founder of a dynasty, which could have been more honourable. The young beauty did not think long about the proposal of the son of King Ludwig I of Bavaria. Although the future father-in-law seemed eccentric, his son was handsome and with bright prospects. In the portrait painted by J.K. Steeler in 1836, Duchess Amalia of Oldenburg is depicted as incredibly beautiful. Her beauty was not overshadowed by a luxurious high diamond tiara with floral motifs, massive earrings, and a necklace of large stones and lace. The rosebuds, leaves, and blooming roses are decorated with diamonds and made of natural silver with gold plating. The central element is a fully bloomed rose on a branch. Amalia had been married to Otto I of Greece for 2 years, but they had no children. Perhaps that's why she chose such massive decorations for the portrait, to emphasize the royal status. And the flowers on the tiara were supposed to symbolize her youth and hope for the birth of an heir for Greece. But that didn't happen. The Greeks, who initially greeted the young queen with enthusiasm, were soon disappointed. Doctors have announced that Amalia Oldenburgskaya cannot become a mother. This meant that the royal couple would not be able to establish a dynasty, and a new king had to be chosen. Amalia actively intervened in politics, although she understood little of what was happening. She was fascinated by the beauty of Greece, its traditions and culture. She even introduced the Greek folk costume into fashion. But the daughter of the Duke of Oldenburg did not feel the soul of her people and sought to convince the government to appoint her brother as heir. In 1862, King Otto I and Amalia had to flee Greece. They became monarchs in exile, and the throne passed to George I and Grand Duchess Olga Romanova,